What can I say? Welcome to my first ever podcast. It's Rev Jim and I am out on my own. I'm giving it a go and I've had Luke who's been helping me put this all together and it's really, really exciting. But before we start, I really have to give a huge thank you to Iron Monarch Studios, who not only have given me a studio, they've given me a producer. We've got Reese who's with me today. Say good day, Reese, so they know who you are.
Hello.
And we're going out and we're having a bit of a chat with people and seeing what's happening. So the first podcast that we're doing today is a rather interesting one. And the reason why I find it so interesting is because I'm very keen to hear about what kind of work that people do. I get to meet so many people out and about. I listen to what they do, and I find all kinds of work interesting because people do work that they love generally. And I was looking at a report from the University of Queensland, and they're saying that most of us will have 3 to 7 careers in their lifetime. And you sit down and you talk about your work, and it's quite funny, really. Some people will say, oh God, I hate my job, but they still go back every single day because that's what they know, that's what they do. And I met somebody who has an amazing story with the careers that they have. And we're calling her River to protect her anonymity. And River had a job in her younger years, which a lot of people will have some very interesting opinions about. Some people will have very bad opinions about her role. Some people will have more favourable opinions about her role. And other people will recognise that while they might not want to ever do her role, it is a necessary role within society. It's known as the first ever profession. Now, you may call it prostitution. You may call her a call girl. You may even call her a slut. I don't know. But it's still a very interesting profession, and I think it's something that we all need to talk about because I personally think that the role of sex work is a very important role within our community. Now, if you have a think about it, many people are in many different situations, but every single one of us needs comfort. Every single one of us needs companionship. Every single one of us needs somebody that they can rely on to provide that little bit of, I'm special, I feel important, I have somebody that will make me feel good about myself. Now, you might turn around and say that I'm talking shit, but guess what? We're all here to have our opinions, and you can leave comments on our Facebook page, you can leave comments within Spotify, you can leave comments on whatever media it is that you're listening to this podcast on. Leave us a comment and please tell us what you think, because I'm very interested in hearing how you feel about this situation. So I'd like to introduce everyone to River. River, welcome to the first podcast with the Devil Dodger. Hello. You're looking a little bit nervous there, but you know what? This is something that I feel very passionate about because I find it a very, very interesting topic. In my work that I've done, and I've had several different careers, working in health to now helping people in whichever way I can, I've always found sex work, and let's just call it sex work for want of the rest of the podcast, I've always found it very interesting. Because it's very diverse, the people that you come across. It's very diverse that the people that...
Oh, you come across a lot of people.
Exactly. No pun intended.
Well, they do most of the coming, but anyway.
I find it very interesting because, let's be honest, it's one of those ones where you're going to be looked down upon.
Yeah.
No matter what you do.
So even if you talk about it in a not derogatory way, everyone goes, oh, yeah,
So can I ask you the question?
Mm.
How did it start? What was the catalyst that made you say, yes, I am going to sleep with men and women for money?
So I was quite young when I started it, but I was unemployed and it was just before COVID hit and finding jobs were really hard. And from a lot of friends and other people, I always got the comment of, oh, you're quite attractive. And it would also sometimes go to an odd point where people hit on me. And just one day, me and my friend were talking and she's like, we could be making money off of this, because she also went into a form of sex work. And I was like, okay. So I know like doing the online photos and the videos, that does make money, but like doing it in person makes more money. And the area that I was living in wasn't really the area to start it. It was very small and very sheltered. And I was like, okay, well, if I travel 2 hours north, that is a much bigger market, and the people up there would be looking for this sort of like arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
So it could range from just wanting to spend an hour with someone, to wanting to sleep with someone, to just simply wanting a girlfriend experience, which was actually the more common one.
Like,
So the more common one was the girlfriend experience. Can you
yeah.
Can you elaborate a bit more on the girlfriend experience? Because that's a term that I'm not 100% familiar with.
So there were so many cases where a friend or like someone who was going to a promotion, like getting promoted, and it was always them getting asked, so when are you going to get a girlfriend? When are you getting married? Have you found someone? And instead of like wanting to find someone at that time because their deadline didn't meet, they would reach out to me and send me a text and be like, hey, I found your number via another person because I had the rule you couldn't just find me, you needed to know me or find my ad. And they'll go, I'm not looking for anything sexual, I just need an arm piece, which is girlfriend experience. So I would go to so many events and I'll just like talk up this person, like be lovey-dovey and be like, oh my God, yeah, he's so sweet, he does all this for me, he knows how to make me feel like loved and all that. And it was just like boosting their ego, buttering them up to everyone else, and just being a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So there were cases where I was already on the job. Pardon me. I was already on the job, and they did eventually go, okay, for an additional price, would I actually be able to take you home tonight? But most of the time, as I said, they just wanted the girlfriend experience. So we'll talk, we'll have a drink, we'll do all that, and then it was just we would part ways and just be friendly.
So it sounds like, from what you've just said, you do the girlfriend experience, and then because of your attitude, the way you worked and stuff like that, there may have been some sort of attraction, so they decided to pay you a little bit extra for that little bit extra.
Yeah.
How often would that happen?
It was about a 2 out of 5 chance of that happening. Sometimes I would also do a girlfriend experience for like other women, and like their add-on, they would think that they wanted to spend the night with me, but then they go, oh, let's just go have dinner. Let's just have a coffee. Let's just talk. And just like you, they were quite curious about my role, and they go, so what do you actually do? And then I would be like, well, how much do you want to know? And then they would just ask questions and I would happily answer. And I was like, what brings up curiosity about this? And they're like, well, I have a friend who's also thinking about joining the call girl service. And I go, okay, well, make sure they have like a solid menu before. So menu being like the base price, the add-ons, and depending on the hours. Depending on the hours. Actually, I had one guy pay me for a whole hour, but he only lasted 10 minutes.
So, folks, you're probably wondering, my eyebrows just raised, but it didn't raise at that. It actually raised at the menu, and we're going to come back to that in just a moment. So, you'd work on a time basis, is it?
Yeah. So I would always have the base rate. The hour was $300.
Yep.
And if they would straight up say, oh, I want 2 hours, then it'll go to $600. But if there was any additional things, it'll be depending on what they wanted and the nature of it, I will add on accordingly. So there was some times where they wanted me for a whole weekend. I would charge about like $1,200 for that. And if they go, okay, like sometimes it also depended on my appearance. If they go, I want you to dress up, I'll be like, okay, that's like a $80 to $100 add-on, because depending on the nature of you want me to dress up. So if I'm just looking pretty, but if you want me to dress formal, like that's expensive to me. I have to get my makeup, my hair, and like formal attire. And it's just like, that's not cheap as is. So it would depend on everything.
Okay. So you said menu.
Yes.
Now, the second you said menu, and while I have worked with call girl, we're going to say call girl. Is that an acceptable term?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to be fancy, we're called escort.
Okay. We'll say call girls. A menu.
A menu.
That sounds incredibly misogynistic.
Yeah, I can see how that does seem it, but it's the women setting the prices. So all women have different prices depending on how experienced or how much they go out. So like if you continuously get called out, you can occasionally bring your prices down because you have a lot of clients. But since I was only up where I would go for clients like every second weekend or like every third, I was quite rare up there. That makes me sound like I'm a magnificent thing. No, I was hardly ever up there, but because I was hardly ever up there, I needed to make my money within that weekend or occasionally a week. So if I was there for a weekend, yeah, my prices were up a bit more because I was only there for 2 days. But if I was there for a week, I would maybe bring it down just a little bit. But
Okay. So a lot of the terms that you use can sound very misogynistic, and we do have a lot of ladies who listen who will be listening right now while they're working a night shift or, you know, doing whatever it is they do each day to make their own money. And we live in a world where equality is a big thing. And a lot of people are probably sitting here listening to this going, well, it's just dirty old men who are using your services. Is that the case?
no, not at all. So there have been times where I've had much older men call me, but they're not really looking for anything sexual. Sometimes, like, I just get called over to their house and they just want someone to have dinner with. Like, unfortunately, their late wife has passed away and they're not used to being in the home by themselves, and it's just, they're feeling lonely. There have been situations where it's been very odd for me as well. I've had a wife call me to be with her husband, but that was only for the shit. Like, they were very much in love, like, still very are. But their schedules never lined up. And either he was too tired or she was too tired. She called me into her house and I was shocked that she answered the door. And she goes, "Oh, are you River?" I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "Okay, you're here for my husband." I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "By the way, I was the one who organized you." I was like, "Okay, so what am I doing?" And she just went, "It's his birthday. I'm tired. I literally just got off shift from night. And like, I'm physically drained. He's just waking up now." I was like, "So I'm waking him up with sex with another woman?" And she went, "Yeah." There have also been situations where it was men realizing that they're gay, so they called a call girl to see if it was just like something with their partner at the time or if it was actually them. So another thing was, I had a man call me and his girlfriend knew about it, but like, she was out of the house and he was trying to see if he was still sexually attracted to women or if it was just he lost attraction to his girlfriend. And before we had done anything, like, we had undressed and all that, and we were both there naked, and he just broke down in tears. And I like quickly like put aside like my professionalism and I just went, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm not attracted to women." And he goes, "You're a very attractive woman as is, but I'm not attracted to you myself." I was like, "Okay, is there any way I can help with this?" And he's like, "No, I think I'm just gay." I was like, "Okay, so do you want me to get dressed?" And he's like, "If that's okay." So then we got dressed and we actually sat on his couch talking about it. And he was like, I thought it was just me being a little bit different when I was younger. I thought I was like just a little bit unique because I found different things like interesting. Like I loved my sister's Barbies. I loved playing makeup with them, and I thought that was just because I had sisters. And he's like, but I didn't think that was me being gay. I was like, well, you were a child then, so you probably didn't understand the concept of being gay. And he goes, but it also followed through to my teen years. I loved all the feminine clothes. I loved all that. And like, it's not that I want to be feminine. It's just I prefer it. And it's like, and I love talking to women. I have an emotional connection to them. I just don't have an attraction. So.
It sounds to me like you're describing, and I know I'm going to get comments about this, and I will show them to you when I get the emails.
Beautiful.
And you can find me at Iron Monarch Studios. You can find me on Facebook, Spotify. You can find me on Apple. I know that I'm going to get comments about this, but it sounds in a way that you're a naked social worker.
I guess you could say that.
I mean, Reese, you're listening to this. I mean, what are you thinking?
In what regards?
The naked social worker from just what I'm listening to.
I mean, look, very easy to chat to. Very easy to chat to. Like, these people just being like sitting down and having a chit chat, I can see that happening. So,
Yeah.
Mind you, I've never gone to a social worker and taken my clothes off, so I'm not sure if that's something that...
It's a special kind of service.
Think of it like naked therapy.
Oh my god, I've never thought about that. I never actually thought of it that way because there's been so many situations that I have helped someone realize something. I never thought of me being a naked social worker. That's it, guys. I'm no longer a call girl. I'm a naked social worker.
We've just changed the name of a profession. We've just gone politically correct now. We don't have prostitutes. We don't have call girls. We have naked social workers.
That would be an interesting. Like, what do you do for work? Like for work, naked social worker.
So, with what you've been saying, how many times would you get a call and attend, so the girlfriend experience and all those kind of things, how many times in a percentage would it end up actually being a sex act?
40 to 60, 40 being the sex.
40%.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is an amazing thing that I find. You know, so many people look down on the industry and they'll say, well, you know, they're nothing but whores, they're nothing but sluts, and many other rude words that we could turn around and say on this topic. But 40% of your clients end up with a sex act. 60%
Just want company.
just want company. And we live in a world, we have Are You OK Day. We have so many different times during the year where we're encouraged to say to our friends and our family, is everything okay? What's going on? Do you need company? And still people need that individual support, just that one-on-one compassion, that one-on-one comfort, that a hug can heal the world. And that's basically what your industry is providing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder whether the rest of us need to take some stock in what we do and how we deal with everybody that we know and give comfort.
Like, from working as a naked social worker to now my everyday life, like, I've still very much carried some of the things that I do from when I did that. Like, I will probably sit down, talk to someone, and I'll just start picking up on little cues of things that they say. And I'm very aware, it's like, this is a skill that I learned from that job. Like, but it was a really good skill that it's just stuck with me. And it's actually been very helpful because now, even like if I'm having a coffee with someone, I will just be like, what was that? Like what you just said, what was that? And they go, oh, it's nothing. I was like, no, you can't lie to me. I've picked up on your little thing. What is it? And they go, oh, well, and because you find them in that like little flash of vulnerability, it just, one, it will shock them that someone's picked up on it, because day to day, not everyone has time to pick up on the small like indications of vulnerability. But like when like being a call girl, it's just complete vulnerability, because one, you have called someone to keep you company and have like that compassion with someone, and like we go into it knowing that like this person may be like in a vulnerable state. And it's just, once you pick up on it, it's a good skill to keep.
Yeah. So let's go with stereotypes for a second.
Lovely.
Okay, because stereotypes is the way the world works. We all know that. Tell me something. What's the worst?
What's the worst? Stereotype?
No, the worst client.
Okay, let me just go through.
So
Wait, like there is a few.
When I ask that question, we have, society has changed. You know, back in the day when I was your age, and yes, folks, there is a big age difference between River and myself. But back in the day, we didn't have the computers, we didn't have the games. You know, the most common game was like an Atari that you put in your little black and white TV, so not many people were gaming.
I had an Atari.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you two?
Well, I was too, but like but I like my retro consoles.
Okay, fair enough. But you didn't have the serious kind of gamers, the
Tryhards.
well, tryhards, but I mean the people that let their personal hygiene go, and the people that
Oh, I can think of a client now.
oh, you thought thinking
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I can think of a client now. Funny enough, this is also a man that only lasted 10 minutes. So, like, he definitely had his hand in his daddy's back pocket. But it was like a very exquisite. It was a mansion. Like, it most definitely was a mansion. And I go in, his oh god, his little sister answered the door. And she was only 8. And she goes, oh, are you my brother's friend? And I went, where's your brother? And she just yelled out his name. And you hear him running down the stairs, because obviously he's like, oh shit, my sister answered the door instead of me. And it's like, okay, one, you're paying more for that. You had a child answer the door. Like, obviously I'm dressed nicely, like everything's covered. But then he goes up this way, so then I follow him. The house is immaculate. It's beautiful. Get into his room. It's a little den. There's monster cans everywhere. There's like food that should have been thrown away 3 weeks ago. And he's like, okay, so you got the money, right? I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, beautiful. And just strips. No foreplay, no nothing. And I hate that he looked like deep, like he did have a good physique. He just did not have hygiene whatsoever. Like, I walked in and I almost gagged because it just smelled of BO, rotten food, and like whatever else. And I didn't have sex with him. He just needed a hand job. Like, that's what got him off, and I was thankful for that. But the sounds he made, he sounded like a dying donkey. Yeah. So I'm like getting him off, and all you hear is him sounding as if he's in pain rather than in pleasure. And I had to go like, are you okay? And he goes, no, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. I'm like, I'm getting him off and looking the other way. And then after all that, all we hear is like a little knock on his door. And he just quickly gets dressed. Again, his sister. Knocking on the door, being like, are you okay? You sound like you're hurt. And it's like, oh my god, I want to get out of here as soon as possible. So then as soon as he was done, he's like, oh, that was amazing. Like, that was the best. And I'm like, I didn't do anything except like use my hand. Anyway. And I was like, is there anything else you need? Me, hoping he says no. He's like, no, that's it. I was like, thank fuck. And that was the quickest I got out of a house. But, like, you're in a really nice house, and there's always that one little man cave. Yeah. It's not even a man cave. It's not nice. It was a cave.
Yeah, see, that's the crazy thing as well. And I think that's where the stereotypes come in, that, you know, you're dealing with people that haven't got control of their own lives. And you've also got the other stereotype, and I don't know whether you've come into contact with colleagues that maybe like this or maybe not, because you have really good call girls who are making, $10,000 a night to what everybody sees on shows like SVU and...
Yeah, it doesn't paint us in a nice picture.
Exactly.
It's always like, oh, they're doing like, sometimes they would say they're doing the devil's work, they're doing all this, and it's like, it's just they're being a whore, and it's like, it's really not that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's more to it. Like, yeah, sure, you only see what like the media displays and how they portray it, but it's not that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also on top, the dude was 27.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, if you had a little sister
Mm-hmm.
and you found out that she was thinking about this kind of work, knowing what you know as a call girl, what would you say to her if she was going to do it?
Is this really what you want to do? And if she says yes, I'll start questioning her as if I was a fucking policewoman and be like, why do you want to do this? What makes you think this is a good job? Like, I went into it by myself. I didn't go through a company or anything. I just one day set up a thing and went into it. But I was not prepared for half of it, like more than half of it. Like, a lot of it was a shock, and sometimes I just went, why the fuck did I do this? But then I was like, okay, I'm sure there is a way to learn around this. And there is kind of like a website where it's a social website, but it's made specifically for kinks. And I just read that whole thing. Like, I was scrolling through it for so long, reading about like kinks, fetishes, and like what other call girls were doing that were using that website. So as I saw like other call girls using it, I was like, oh shit, I might make one as well. And there was one who was like sort of in the same area as me, and I just started talking to her. But she had in her bio that she was doing this for 15 years. And I was like, look, I know I'm just a random girl messaging you, but I need help. And she goes, are you needing a service? I was like, no, I need help to provide services. And she went, oh, well, what do you mean? I was like, I've only been doing this for like a month now, but I've seen that you've been doing it for 15 years. And I was like, I thought this job would just be like an easy way to make money. And she goes, no, you need to mentally prep yourself every time. And I was like, what can I do to like do all this? And we went into a great conversation, and she was lovely about everything. And it got to the point where she would just message me, checking up on me, and she's like, are you okay? Like, how's everything going? Have you had any horrible like services? And I would just talk to her. And it got to a point where we would exchange like the services we were going to, so we could check in with each other at the end of the night or the end of the weekend. So I had like a good companion in the like work area. We actually never met, but we would just check up on each other. And it was actually quite nice to have that companionship with someone who understood it and who had so much more experience than me.
So I'm going to use the word colleagues.
Yeah.
How does it work with your colleagues? Is there jealousy? Is there fighting? Or is there, this is my client, you can go and get fucked? Or
So
that was a bad pun when it comes to the topic that we're talking about. But anyway, you know what I mean.
So there has been like very tense moments before. And there are companies that do like hire out escorts, but I was never a part of that. So when you sort of go to the same event that a company girl is from, it can get tense. So a man hired me to be a girlfriend experience because he was getting a promotion, and I saw a woman walk over and I noticed she had the red heel, like the red sole of the heels. For people who don't know, call girls would sort of indicate that they're a call girl by having the heel of their stilettos as red. So as she was walking around, I picked up on that, and she tried to go to my client. So I had to politely step in and I went, I'm sorry, he's already hired someone for the night. And she goes, oh, I didn't know someone else from the company was here. I went, I'm not from the company. Like, I do my own thing. And she goes, oh. I was like, but if you're looking for a client tonight, go to my client's friend because he's getting a promotion next week. So sometimes it can be tense, but as I pointed out another client for her, she was like, oh my God, thank you. And just like toddled off. There have been times where, like, it hasn't been me, but I've seen it happen, where full fights will happen. Like hair pulling, screaming, scratching. And it's like, I'm not going to be a part of that. Like, I'm just going to walk the other direction. And sometimes they're girls from the same company.
Wow.
It's a very competitive.
River, you're bringing us into such an amazing world that I didn't know much about. From my point of view, I worked with a lot of people that were in the industry, but we never really talked this way. We never really spoke about the ins and outs of the industry itself. My focus was health and that kind of stuff. So I'm absolutely finding this really fascinating. And I know Reese is sitting here hanging on every single word. But what we need to do first before we go any further is we need to have a word from our sponsor. And we're going to come back because I've got a lot more questions for you. Okay? Thank you.
Everyone has a story. At Monarch Studios, we believe those stories deserve to be heard and seen. From heartfelt documentaries to powerful theatre performances, Monarch Studios captures real life, real voices, and real communities. We specialise in bringing life stories to the screen and stage. Stories of resilience, laughter, heritage, and hope, told by the people who live them. Whether you're looking to share your journey or preserve your local legacy, or be part of something truly meaningful, Monarch Studios is where it begins. Visit IamMonarchStudios.com or follow us on socials. Monarch Studios, where real life becomes unforgettable storytelling.
Okay, so River, welcome back.
Hi.
Wow, that first part of the conversation has been absolutely amazing.
Not naked social workers, still just... I love it.
Naked social worker, that is really interesting. I can only imagine the amount of comments that we're going to get back through the socials about naked social worker. But the reality is, from what you've been telling me, is you really are here more for people's mental health than anything else, which I find
most
absolutely
definitely.
amazing.
Most definitely.
Yeah. It kind of puts me out of a job because I can guarantee you nobody wants to see me naked. Nobody even wants to see me on a camera. So
What are you talking about? You have a face for radio.
exactly, that's why we're doing a podcast with no cameras. That's exactly it. I mean, the amount of times Luke and I have done a photo together over 10 years have probably been twice, I think, or maybe 3 times in the amount of time that we've known each other. So it's a very interesting concept, and I find it absolutely fascinating. And anyone who's listened to me over the last 10 years would know that I'm not one for being judgmental. But there is an elephant in the room.
Mm.
And I think we need to address this question.
Mm.
How does your previous occupation, because you're no longer in this industry, how does that affect your current relationships? How does it affect previous relationships? I sit there and wonder, you know, you meet people and you may end up in a relationship with them. How do you broach the subject that I used to be a naked social worker?
It is actually very hard to go about. So my mother knew that I did OnlyFans, but I've not yet told her at all, and I don't think I ever will, that I was a call girl.
So for those who are listening, OnlyFans, because we do have a lot of people who are listening who they can work their phone, they can work different technology, but they may have never have heard of OnlyFans. OnlyFans is basically a site where you can get any kind of fetish that you want. If you want to see somebody's feet, if you want to see somebody's breasts, if you want to see any part of the human anatomy that turns you on, you can see it.
It's like Pornhub with more flavour.
There you go, Pornhub with more flavour.
There is a woman on there who literally makes a joke out of it. She wears old Victorian dresses and she just ever so slightly lifts her dress to show her ankle. She gets a lot of money for it too.
Just for showing her ankle?
Just for showing her ankles. How scandalous.
Well, there we go. There's plenty of people who live in the Middle Ages. I think we call them politicians, don't we?
Pretty much.
It just strikes me as very, very interesting how you would say to a new partner, honey, I was a sex worker.
So, with my current partner, I can't remember how it came up, but I do remember just like nonchalantly mentioning it, and like they took it really well. And it was just that. But with my ex-fiance, he never knew. Because the year of me meeting him was the year before, like the year prior to that, I was doing all the sex work and like being a call girl. And when we first started dating, he like did mention he's not well endowed and he was kind of self-conscious about it and he wasn't that experienced in like sex. So it would be intimidating to like start dating someone and they're like very experienced. But yeah, it is hard to bring up, but you've just got to know who you can and can't tell. So there's a good chunk of people in my life who don't know. And it would be hard to be like, oh yeah, no, I used to do this, because some people I've known since I was 13, some people I've known since I was like a child, and it's like, it would change their image of you in their eyes, because some of them knew that I did OnlyFans, and some of them just like after that knowledge, they just did not talk to me.
It's going to sound very funny, but I know exactly what you're saying, because myself being a minister of religion, and you know, I wear the black shirt with the backwards collar. Yeah, when you say to somebody,
I'm the Rev Jim, that took me by surprise.
See, there you go. People look at you going, uh-huh. And people look at you and they start judging you and they start going, well, I can't be honest with this person, or this person's going to ram religion down my throat, or this person's going to do all manner of things. You know, and especially with what's been going on within the Catholic faith, you know, people automatically judge you on that too. So I really do understand exactly what you're saying. And you and I met in a totally different environment, and in an environment where you would not necessarily need to know that I'm Reverend Jim. And I did not need to know that you were a call girl.
Just like you, Jim.
Yeah.
As a reverend, how does this topic like bring on emotions for you? Like, is it a point of curiosity? Is it a point of judgment? Like, is it a point of fascination? Like, being a reverend in the church, and like obviously you share a particular message going forward. Like, where does this come to you from your point of view?
So, Rex, for me, it doesn't particularly faze me at all. We look at the story of Mary Magdalene and how Jesus treated her. I accept everybody, and what I don't accept is dishonesty. And you know what? It's a very honest profession when you really look at it. And River, please jump in on this. It's a very honest profession. You know what you're getting. You know that. Okay, I'm sort of paraphrasing here, because I've never, especially being a gay man, never used a call girl.
There are call guys, just they're a lot harder to find.
Well, okay, there you go. We may talk after the recording.
No, as one would say, they're a rare breed.
A rare breed, exactly. But there's a certain amount of honesty within call girls, in my opinion, as in the fact of you know exactly what you're getting. You're saying to somebody, this is what I want. I'm happy to pay for it. And this is what you get.
Yeah.
It's very rare from my experience working with ladies of the night in the past that they would not be honest about the services and that kind of stuff. There are certain things that they will do, certain things that they won't do. And
Butt play.
I will never do that.
okay, there you go. So for me, there's a certain amount of honesty, and I treat everybody the same way. If you're honest, if you're true to yourself, if you know who you are, I'm more than happy to support and be there for anybody. It's the people who pretend. Like, one of the things I learned at the very first day of my training to become Reverend Jim was there's two types of Christians in the world. There's the true Christians who often don't even acknowledge that they're Christians because there's a lot of issues within the church and a lot of expectations, because the church is about control. Religion is about freedom. The church is about control. And we often will say, Christians will pray for people on a Sunday and pray on people every other day.
Ooh. Never heard it put like that, but yeah.
Yes. So for me, I accept everyone. And River, you and I have known each other for about 6 months now. And
Has it been that long?
potentially 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you and I get on like a house on fire. We enjoy a drink. We enjoy hanging out. Our partners get on very well together as well. And, you know, there's a lot of things. And I can see you and I being very good friends for a very long time.
That makes me happy.
And, you know, I do remember you saying to me, originally we were talking over lunch, and the topic of, I believe it was Tinder, came up. And you said to me, oh, well, I was banned from Tinder, but I won't ever tell you why, which automatically made
I thought it was because my partner banned me from it, and I had to be like, no, Tinder banned me.
Yes, yes.
For those who's never used it, it's actually quite hard to get banned off Tinder.
Yeah, so me being me, I'm very inquisitive and I'll find out the answer. I guarantee you I will. And then I found out the answer.
Yeah, I've been banned off it for now.
Yes. River was very sheepish and was... This is my interpretation. When you told me, you had this way of like, oh, he's going to turn around and call me some rude name and just walk away.
I was worried about that, actually.
Exactly. I just sat there and I had another mouthful of my Scotch and Coke going, so fucking what?
You had a good giggle when I first told you that I was banned, because, like, as I said, it's hard to get banned off it, and you knew that at the time, but when we had a proper drink, you were like, okay, is that what got you banned? And I was like, oh my god, that's so much weight off my chest.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares? Because you never stole money off people. You were honest with what you did, and you're happy to talk about it. And folks, during the break, River and I were having a chat, and one of the things that I found really interesting was River had said this is the first time she's been able to talk about it so openly and feel safe about talking about it, and that concerns me. It concerns me because every single person has a right to be able to do their trade and not feel put down by it, not feel that they're lesser than anything else. And I guess it comes to the old analogy, the person that you give the most respect to in any kind of workplace is the cleaner, because most people ignore them. Most people just, oh, why would you be a cleaner? No, that's still a very important job. Without the cleaner, most places would fall apart. If you look at sex work, and we're going to go into a topic that's quite a challenging topic for a lot of people, and I've spoken about this many times, and especially anyone who's heard the latest broadcast with Luke and myself, it's a topic that I feel very passionate about. We have some very sick freaks out there. And, there's really not a proper word to say about them. I guess the best word is parasites who are doing things to vulnerable people. And I sometimes wonder, if we didn't have sex workers, would we have more people out there doing these kind of crimes? But now we've had this chat with River, I'm now wondering whether that mentality is even relevant, because River has said to us 60% of the people that she's worked with, 60%, over half of the people that she has clients, didn't even want sex. They wanted that girlfriend experience.
But the 40% of it can still be scary. So there have been encounters where people request certain things, and obviously, according to what they request, I do price it up. There have been some very odd requests, and when they request it, all I can think about is like, if I'm doing this like sort of role play scenario with you, does this like bring down the need to do that to other people, or like on a regular basis? Do you think that you want to do this to other people? I won't get into the gritty details of it, because like it can be quite disturbing. Like there have been times where I've come back from some of those sessions, and that woman that I mentioned earlier, who was a good companion / colleague, I just spoke to her and I was like, is it regular that some people request this? And she goes, that's only the tip of the iceberg that they're requesting. Like there is a lot more. And I was like, okay, that is kind of terrifying. Like there are people out there who have hired call girls, and some of them come back absolutely distraught from it. And it's just because like some people have needs that aren't necessarily in the norm. And it's just like, you probably go throughout, like I'm not saying that they do, but you probably have moments in the day where you just think, I want to do that kind of stuff. But it's just so out of the norm that it's seen as like taboo, or like seen as like borderline insane. And it's just, yeah.
So I'm going to use a word here. And to me, this word is very important. And that's vulnerability. Now, if we go down the path of kinks or fetishes and that kind of stuff, we have a lot of fetishes out there that don't exactly promote vulnerability as such. Okay? Now, when I say vulnerability, what I mean is making the innocent vulnerable. So if we use a fetish, and I'm going to pick one off the top of my head right now, and I'm looking at my iPad, and I've just typed in fetishes, and one that's popped up is one about urination. Okay. Now, for those who are listening, River's just turned white and nearly wanted to puke, so she runs away, and we suddenly go to a break. We know why.
Okay.
Now, what I'm looking at on my iPad, that fetish doesn't necessarily make somebody vulnerable.
No.
Okay. It's a consenting act between two people that it doesn't hurt anybody else. It doesn't take away a vulnerability from somebody.
No.
All right. That to me, fine, if somebody wants to do it, you know what?
Some people like their golden showers.
Exactly.
I personally do not.
Exactly. Take the piss if you want to.
Haha.
Exactly. However, there are other fetishes out there, and I'm just looking here, and there's another one here that's talking about age play, where somebody pretends to be a younger person. Now we're talking about vulnerability. Now we're talking into a whole totally different scenario. This is where I start to get concerned, and this is where I start to say maybe sex work sex workers may be helping within society. Because if somebody has a fetish, and let's just say, for example, that they think it's okay, and I'm not advocating for this because anyone who's heard me before would know that I absolutely detest this kind of thing. Wants to sleep with somebody in a school uniform. Is this a community service? Are we stopping people because they can fulfill their fantasy with consenting adults and stuff like that?
So I've had to do a school role play once, but he didn't thankfully he didn't want to do too young of an age, so I just pretended I was someone who was still in high school that just turned 18. But there are some people out there who do prefer the younger age play. I've written that off and I say I don't do it because that's very uncomfortable for me, because if they want me to roleplay that role, it's quite disturbing because I'm not a grown woman at that time, but I'm older, and you're asking me to go back to teen mindsets and act younger, act naive, and act innocent, or as some people say, and this makes me uncomfortable, pure.
Mm-hmm.
So with those kinds of ones, if there are more experienced escorts or call girls who are okay to do it, yeah, we are potentially preventing people from preying on actually younger people, and they can roleplay their scenarios in a setting where it's not illegal because the woman is of consenting age and is an adult. So there are some cases where there's disturbing kinks where it's preying on the vulnerable.
So do you feel in a way with those kind of situations that you're helping society?
In an odd way, yes. Because that sort of way of helping society, not many people see it. It's very much under the woodworks.
It's a very interesting conundrum, and I sometimes wonder where we as a society should sit, because we need to reduce the amount of people who are being hurt. We need to reduce it drastically.
Yeah.
But how do we do it? And, it's a very strange thing. But let's go away from this topic just for a second. One thing that I really want to know about. What is the most heartbreaking situation that you've been in? When I say heartbreaking, we have an epidemic in this country. We have an epidemic that is going around the world. And that epidemic is loneliness. And we have things like Are You OK? We have so many different days where we're told to reach out to people.
My probably most heartbreaking one, and it still chokes me up, is a man hired me. He didn't want anything sexual. He didn't even want the girlfriend experience. He just wanted someone to be there. So he hired me for the weekend. So I was at his for the whole weekend, and I was just being a friend, and obviously had still some professionalism about me, because occasionally we would flirt, we would do all that. And as I actually went into the kitchen to get myself a glass of water, he had written a suicide note. He was ready to end it. And I actually walked back into the lounge room with it, and I just sat down and went, "Why did you really bring me here today?" And he's like, "I honestly just wanted someone. I don't know if I'm going to follow through, but even just talking to you has made me sort of settle on that thought." And I was like, "What's brought you to this point?" And we just sat down for hours talking about his story. Yeah, it was quite upsetting. He had lost so much. His wife and his son passed away in a car accident. His parents died probably 2 weeks apart from themselves. And he just had nothing left. But, yeah.
Do you know, as the Rev, I've heard so many stories like that. And my heart goes out to anyone who's in that situation and anyone who's listening to this podcast who is thinking about those kind of things. You know, there are services that are available out there. You know, Lifeline is a big one. And on the podcast, we will actually have the Lifeline number. They're available for people if you need. It just amazes me that, you know, people are that starved for company and that kind of stuff. Do you know if he's still with us?
I still occasionally message him, actually.
So he's still around?
He's still around.
So would you say that the time that you spent with him, you were able to help?
Very much so. And as soon as I found that note, I felt horrible for the fact of, like, he had already sent me money, so I sent all that back to him.
So you refunded all the money?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want any services. He just wanted company. He just wanted a friend. He just needed someone to talk to. And I was like, I'm not exploiting this man in a very vulnerable situation. So I just went, fuck it. I'm not making money this weekend. Like, and I'm helping someone else who actually needs company. And I got him to talk to services as well.
Anyone who's listening to this podcast, and if this is a trigger to anyone, Lifeline's number is 13 11 14. You can also text Lifeline on 0477 131144, and they also have an online chat. Their website is www.lifeline.org.au. It's a very challenging thing to be part of. It's crazy to think that there's some of the things that you deal with, and we come back to the whole thing about being a naked social worker.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fascinating, and you know, I'm absolutely enjoying this chat with you, and I really hope that we can get some more stories. I think
I've got so many.
I think we're starting off with a whole new series now, Confessions of a Call Girl. And, you know, I would love if you had any colleagues that, you know, we could sit here on the lounge and have a few of you sitting here telling us some of the stories.
So I never really had colleagues. Like, I don't know if that woman still does it, but she's now a bit harder to get contact of. But I'll send you the link to the website I was mentioning. And I'm sure there are so many cool girls on there that you could be like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. Like, yeah, sure, they may be a bit, like, hesitant first. Because, like, you want a podcast instead of services? But you most definitely could just promote onto that website and be like, I'm looking for... And even on that website, you could get people coming in talking about kinks, fetishes. Like, it'll be a whole thing. There's a lot.
Oh, look, it sounds absolutely interesting. And I know Reese is sitting here, and Reese has been... listening intently going, wow, I've got so many questions. And, you know, we've also got another one of our producers here, Shane, who's been listening intently as well. I can see he's got the microphone sitting in front of him. So I get the feeling that
he needs to say something.
he needs to say, we're looking with it. He's got the microphone. He's desperate to say something. I'm waiting for him to cut me off, so we better let him on now.
Reverend Jim, I've been biding my time to get involved in this podcast and to listen to River's absolutely phenomenal story is incredible. I would highly suggest this is just part one of many. And I think we still, moving forward, need to do a series on this, because I don't know about you, Reverend Jim, but I'm interested in hearing more stories from Miss River moving forward. So hats off to you, Miss River.
Thank you.
Hope to see you here soon.
Most definitely.
When you say Miss River, isn't that more the dominatrix thing, or is it just
Mistress.
mistress? Is it? Oh, okay. So Mrs. Fine.
Miss River, that's just referring to me. Mistress is the dominant aspect.
Okay. See. Now we've just opened up a whole new series within the podcast of what we need to do. What can I say? I mean, I know Reese has got some comments here as well. He's now stealing the microphone, but yeah, I can see us having quite a few more chats on this topic because it is fascinating. And you know, folks, please send us comments.
Even if you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them as well.
Absolutely, comments as well, because the more comments we get, we can bring River back and we can answer questions. Or if you have a specific question, if you're concerned about anything, if you are worried about things, or, you know, River was talking to me just before about a couple where they could never get their schedules in sync. You know, there's so many things within this topic that are fascinating, and we need to remove the taboo. You know, Reese, what was it you were wanting to say?
It was just a thought that I had like not too long ago. It's this whole aspect of the sex work trade. For a very long time, like it was the social norm. You've got through all the antiquities, sex work, brothels, prostitutes, the whole lot was very normal. It was the everyday life. And so my question has always been, when did it become taboo? At what point did we as a society say, oh no, this is odd, we don't like it, but yet it's something that we do every day?
Yeah.
Between couples, between, you know, one night stands, everything. It's something that we always do. So
Because there is a stigma. There is a stigma about talking about it openly. Like, even if you're just, like, having a giggle with your friends.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most important thing is this is a safe space. This is a place where you can ask those really hard questions, where you can get the information that you want and actually be part of a conversation, because the whole idea of the podcast is to create conversation and to learn something new. And you have basically taught me a lot, and I'm really thankful for that. So thank you for being part of the podcast. And you'll notice on Spotify, on Facebook, on all the socials that we'll be broadcasting out to, you've got the ability to leave comments, or you can leave comments through Iron Monarch Studios. So it's Rev Jim at ironmonarchstudios.com. And feel free to send us the questions and we will put them to River. And I am really hoping that we can get you back on again
I would
to
love
have a good
to.
talk. Mate, absolutely brilliant. Look, thank you so much for being a part of our first podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.